The day the Kennedys left the White House for Texas, a man waiting 1,300 miles away in Dallas was eager for the president to arrive. He was not an important politician who wanted to discuss business with President Kennedy. He was not a supporter who hoped to shake his hand or to obtain a ticket to the November 22nd Chamber of Commerce breakfast to be held for several hundred people in Fort Worth. He was not attending the lunch planned for more than 2,000 people in Dallas. Nor was he a political opponent of John Kennedy's who planned to protest his policies with a homemade hand-lettered cardboard sign. No, this man who awaited John Kennedy in Texas had something else in mind. He wanted to kill the president. It was strange. Just 2 days earlier, when Lee Harvey Oswald awoke in Dallas, Texas, on the morning of Tuesday, November 19, 1963, he did not know that within the next 3 days he would decide to murder the President of the United States. If a fortune teller had prophesied his future, the 24-year-old married father of 2 children might not have believed it. Indeed, among Oswald's corrosive obsessions, and there were many of them, John F. Kennedy was not one. There is no evidence that Oswald hated the president. Much evidence suggests that he rarely thought about him at all. He had no long-standing fixation with Kennedy. He had not made him the primary subject of his everyday conversations. He had not been stalking the president or, as far as can be told, fantasizing about killing him. Of Lee Harvey Oswald's many long-simmering resentments, frustrations, and grievances, the Kennedy presidency was not known to be one of them. What lured Oswald to his sniper's perch on the afternoon of November 22, 1963, remains one of the most enduring mysteries in modern American history. On the morning of Tuesday, November 19th, the Dallas Morning News published the details of the route that President Kennedy's motorcade would follow when, in 3 days, the presidential jet, Air Force One, would take off from Fort Worth and land in Dallas. On the way to a political fundraising lunch at the Trade Mart, the presidential limousine, a big, custom-built convertible Lincoln Continental, would travel from the airport, Love Field, through downtown Dallas, allowing thousands of citizens to assemble on the sidewalks and streets to see President Kennedy in person. In addition, many people working in office buildings along the route could open windows overlooking the street to enjoy a good, unobstructed view of the president. After driving through downtown Dallas, the limousine would turn right from Main Street onto Houston Street, proceed 1 block, then turn left on Elm Street. And finally, as the crowds thinned in an area known as Dealey Plaza, it would pick up speed, vanish under an overpass, and follow the Stemmons Freeway for a short trip to the Trade Mart lunch. Anyone familiar with the streets of Dallas would know that when the president's car turned left onto Elm, it would pass directly below a 7-story office building and warehouse known as the Texas School Book Depository. Since mid-October, Lee Harvey Oswald had held a job there as a low-level order filler who moved cardboard boxes of school textbooks around the building. But on the morning of November 19th, Oswald probably failed to read that day's newspaper, and he did not learn that in 3 days John F. Kennedy would drive right past the place he worked. Too cheap to buy a daily paper, Oswald was in the habit of reading stale, day-old newspapers left behind in the lunchroom by co-workers at the book depository. Thus, it is likely that it was not until the morning of Wednesday, November 20th, 2 days before President Kennedy was scheduled to arrive in Dallas, that Oswald would have learned for the first time that the President of the United States would drive past the book depository. Oswald must have realized the implications of what he had just read. Someone with the mind to do it